Hello, I'm children's author and science poet Leslie Bulion, and I'm so excited to be here to talk to you about my science poetry collection, Random Body Parts, Gross Anatomy Riddles in Verse. When I write science poetry, I'm always thinking a lot about what kind of poem I'm going to write about each subject. And in this case, I was writing about body parts, which are parts of us that many people know a lot about. So I decided to make each poem a riddle. And one of the things that we do when we're writing poetry is sometimes we use metaphor, which is comparing something we may not be familiar with something we are very familiar with. So when I first started thinking about writing about body parts, I learned a very cool word, borborygmus, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I decided to write about a certain body part. And I was thinking about this particular body part and how sometimes it makes a grumbling, rumbling noise. That's where that borborygmus comes in. And it made me think of the witch's speech in Macbeth, Shakespeare's play Macbeth, where the witches say, double, double, toil and trouble. And I thought this body part sometimes says, grumble, grumble, roil and rumble. So I'm going to read this poem to you and then talk about it a little bit. It's called Lunchtime. Thrice the empty pot has whined, thrice times thrice the cavern gapes. The signal comes, 'tis time, 'tis time. In the cauldron mix and stew choice ingredients for our brew. Flesh of fowl ground into hash, blood of berries bled from mash, wheat paste wet with human spit, plant parts mangled bit by bit. Grumble, grumble, roil and rumble, acid burn and slurry tumble. Lumps of lard from fatted swine, shellfish innards laced with brine, spuds unearthed from mud then fried, mucus oozed from deep inside, milk that's soured into curd, borborygmus roars are heard, with a pulverizing rumble, churn and thrash the slushy jumble. Have you guessed what body part I'm comparing to a witch's cauldron in this metaphor? It's your stomach. So one of the things that I had a lot of fun with was thinking about all the things we might eat and how I could describe them in the most disgusting way possible as we chew them up and they go into our stomach. So you might want to guess some of those things too, like spuds unearthed from mud then fried. Can you imagine what that is? If you guessed French fries, that's right. And my challenge to you is if you want to add some verses to this poem, you can think of other things we eat and some other interesting and slightly disgusting way to describe it. Another way that I write these riddle poems is to personify them, which means to make the body part as if it's speaking to you like a person. So here's another riddle for you to think about. It's called Quick as a Wink. Now in these riddles, I give lots and lots of clues, and that's how we help people solve the riddles that we make up, and making up riddles is lots of fun. So this one is quick as a wink. Even in the title, there's a clue. Gritty, if not for me, that is for certain. To see or not to see, I am the curtain. Have I given you enough hints? I'm talking about your eyelids. Now you can see that I used the witch's speech from Macbeth to make the poem about the stomach. And now I'm using another line from Shakespeare that many people know. You might recognize, to be or not to be. That is the question. And I said, to see or not to see. because I'm talking about our eyelids. So I hope you enjoy the poems in Random Body Parts and try some poems of your own, because the very last poem in the book is a complaint from all of the body parts that didn't get their own poem in my book. So you can write your own riddle poem for some body part that I sadly left out of the book. So happy reading, happy making up riddles, and I hope you enjoy all of your reading and writing endeavors. Bye, everybody.